Okay, so this is a topic that kind of came up last night. This was trending on Twitter over the weekend, but because I had a pretty busy weekend, I didn't really have time to get into it or anything. But I just saw Chibi tweeted about this an hour ago and also uploaded this video. He says, ever since 2020, there's been a noticeable shift of people becoming more outspoken on anime to censor itself or bend to people's ideology instead of integrating into the community. With anime and manga reaching global success, is this really a good thing? So, this is something that I have mentioned myself many times in the past that ever since the past couple years or so, and if we all, think back to 2020, a very particular world event happened in 2020 that caused a lot of things in the world in history to shift. We can link a lot of changes back to that, event. And so this is something I just kind of wanted to talk about and give my thoughts on. I have Chibi's video right here. I'm not going to react to the entire thing, just a couple segments of it. One segment in particular is something that I am personally very passionate about because it does center around one of my favorite anime series of all time. So let's get into this. Let's not make it super loud. Let's tone it down a little bit.
We need to have an uncomfortable conversation about the current state of the anime community, the cultural shift within the anime community, and the ramifications of just how anime being popular thanks to the COVID era has really damaged the community, I think, more than I think a lot of us realize. But on top of that, we are seeing a cultural shift that can lead two different directions if things are probably not changed to some.
So yeah, what he's mentioning is what I was saying before, how back in 2020 we had COVID. A lot of things began to change back then due to obviously you're not really allowed to go to work anymore. You weren't allowed to go to school. You couldn't go to the movies. You couldn't go grocery shopping. You couldn't even go work out at a gym or the park. Everything was locked down, so people had no choice but to stay home. So, what did people spend most of their time probably doing back in 2020 when they weren't allowed to do anything else? Probably either playing video games or watching anime. I know that's what I was doing. I was probably playing, I remember Animal Crossing. The new Animal Crossing game came out at like the peak of COVID. So when I had my work hours severely reduced, I was just at home playing Animal Crossing all day long because I literally didn't have anything else to do. And I would assume a lot of other people were doing similar things like that, such as watching anime.
Some degree. So let's get right into that. Basically, as you can see from this post here I'm showing on screen, this is a post that has been blowing up, and this is not the only post that has been blowing up as of late. There's a lot of posts that are very similar to this, a lot of people outspoken about a current situation.
So yeah, this tweet right here says, "Anime fans." It's a little hard to read, but I'll say it out loud. Anime fans are seen as weirdos. Make our own subculture for ourselves. Normies during pandemic realize anime is actually amazing. Joins our culture. Tries to kick us out of our own spaces we built when they kicked us out of all the normie spaces to begin with. Where do we go? So yeah, for all of you new people, you youngins in the anime world, or not even that, just people in general, let me give you a little history lesson. Back when I was growing up in school, which was a very long time ago, I'm not that old, but I'm old enough to remember, certain how things were back in the day. If you watched anime or played video games or were into virtually anything considering nerd culture or geek culture, you were shunned by the masses on large. You didn't really make friends at school. Nobody wanted to talk to you. Nobody wanted to hang out with you. You got bullied, abused, harassed all the time because it was not cool to be into stuff like this. And that's kind of just how it was back then, and we all just dealt with it by making our own spaces, making our own communities. We had our own little places to talk and hang out with online where we could make friends online that had similar interests where we weren't constantly being made fun of in real life all the time at school. And that's kind of just how anime was. Anime was seen as that one niche hobby that is kind of untouchable. You don't mess with it because the people who like anime are weird. But nowadays, ever since the pandemic happened back in 2020, and people kind of lost their will to do anything else because, the world shut down for a whole year, a lot of people probably started to get into anime around that time thinking, I got nothing else better to do, why not try it out? And so a lot of people probably started watching anime at that time and realized, hey, anime is actually pretty freaking cool. So many interesting worlds and characters and stories to get lost in, heartbreaking stories and narratives, things like that. Really, really great characters. A lot of freaking anime. There's hundreds and thousands of different anime out there. No matter what kind of person you are, I guarantee there's a show that you're going to like because the medium of anime is so wide and diverse by default that there is a show for everyone. Whether you like action or fantasy or romance or science or sports or drama, there's shows for everybody. And so, because of that, it kind of naturally acquired a big audience. And with that being said, of course, you're going to invite some bad apples into the group that will, cause chaos.
Therapy has
Oh,
always been such a scary idea to me because
yeah, like I
I
was
simply
saying,
did not
that
know where
when
to get started. I didn't know how to find
have
my
such a
place.
wide net
Popularity.
and involve so many people in the space, it's going to involve some bad apples that are going to try to cause chaos for everything surrounding them. I wanted to skip ahead to this because this is also the section that I wanted to talk about because it centers around one of my personal favorite shows.
It has led people to now seek anime to be censored or not do certain things that it once did, that it's very known for. And one actual big drama that is happening right now, which is even trending, which is crazy, Haruhi is trending right now. And this
So yeah, back to what he said about censorship. That is something that has been occurring recently, as we've seen a lot of anime shows, and not just anime, but also video games in general, are now being seen by what we call as anime tourists, people who don't actually care about the medium, they just want to inject their own personal ideologies into it. They want to see anime now censored for various reasons, be it too much sexual content, too much violence, the stories are too dark, what have you. Every couple months, Berserk is brought up again as an anime or a manga that needs to be censored or canceled because it's just too heavy, it's too dark, it's too violent, there's too much sex, I see the Berserk argument get brought up every now and again. It's never going to go away. But yeah, these people are now trying to censor anime because they have seen what can come of anime and manga, and they don't like it. And so my response to that is, well, if you don't like it, just don't watch it. You don't have to cancel everything that you disagree with. If there's a certain show that you don't like, just simply don't watch it. I've watched a lot of anime myself. I've also watched, and I've liked a lot of anime. I've watched a lot of anime and I've liked a lot of shows, but there's also shows that I didn't like. There's plenty of anime that I don't like. But do I want to see them canceled? No, because they're just not meant for me. Not every show is going to appeal to every person, so if you don't like it, just simply don't watch it. But this is what I wanted to talk about because Haruhi Suzumiya is one of my favorite anime of all time. This goes back to that time period from when I was in school, so Haruhi Suzumiya is old. I believe the show came out in like 2005 or 2006. It's one of those early mid-2000 anime that everyone really, really liked back in the day. Shows like Death Note, Fullmetal Alchemist came out of that era. And the thing with Haruhi Suzumiya is it was a very, very different kind of show. It's not super popular anymore. It's kind of fallen off in popularity, as trends do. No trend can live forever. But back when the show first came out, it was immensely popular. It blew up really, really big because of how different it was. Haruhi Suzumiya was essentially a show about nothing. Just a group of high school kids living their daily life, doing daily stuff, the most boring, mundane tasks imaginable, but the show was carried by its amazing characters and quirky storylines that made you question, what the hell am I even watching? Because there were some moments that were really freaking weird. And it wasn't your typical, battle shonen that run for 100 episodes. It was only like 24. 8 of which episodes are the exact same thing, which we call the Endless 8, the first 8 episodes of Season 2. I'm not going to get into the intricacies of the Endless 8, because that could be an entire video all for itself. But if you know, you know. You remember watching that.
one is wild, honestly. But a lot of these new fans don't even know the cultural impact of Haruhi, which is
I do. I was there. I remember. I loved Haruhi since the beginning.
fine. You know, not everybody's gonna know all the ins and outs of what makes, you know, the anime community, the anime industry, but it's very clear just like how new fans have been reacting. This post right here is a very good example of it.
Yeah. I actually have it pulled up here. It's gonna be much easier to read. Everybody's been clowning on this one post over here. So this is screaming, "I'm better than you because I don't shower." I believe this comment is in a response to something going on with Frieren. Frieren Beyond Journeys, and that anime has been brought up again because people don't understand how, how the demons work and how some people are just meant to be evil. But here we have Haruhi. This is a guy saying super something super peanut butter. Do you even know her? Of course, it's a gif of Haruhi. And then this guy over here is saying, Twitter, yeah, when you don't know some random anime show from the 80s that's called I Got Reincarnated. Yeah, I'm not going to read that out loud. So yeah, Haruhi, like I said, not from the 80s. She's from like 2005. And she's not just some random character. She was one of the biggest and most explosive characters of that era. And here we go. The disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya from the culture and its consequences have been a disaster for the anime community. Imagine calling yourself an anime fan and not knowing who Haruhi Suzumiya is. I was wondering what anime this was referring to, and this being about Haruhi Suzumiya gave me a conniption. This is literally calling himself a big fan of rock music and have never listened or even heard of Jimi Hendrix. Doesn't know Haruhi Suzumiya, get a load of this tourist. So, yeah.
This individual basically called Haruhi a Diddy anime. And I'm just like, this is something you have seen increasingly a lot as of late. This isn't just necessarily on Haruhi. This is just for anything that is outside mainstream shonen. If it's not, like I said, JJK or Chainsaw Man or Dawn to Dawn or something, this is people's honest reactions to what basically all anime is. And in fact, it's crazy that this individual called Haruhi a 1980s anime when it's a late 2000s anime. And yeah, that's still technically old at this point, but it is nowhere near, 1980s anime. The overall art style shift from 80s anime to the 2000s is so significant and different that you just cannot compare the two. But the reason why I'm bringing up this post is that these posts are becoming increasingly common, and there's just so much negativity around shows that are outside modern shonen or different mainstream shows that it might actually affect Japan. And you're probably...
So, yeah. I want to cut it here because, I don't want to make this video too long, but essentially what he's saying is, if a show isn't like a super mainstream shonen like Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, Dan to Dan, Demon Slayer, if it's not one of those super big popular shows, if it's one of the more obscure ones, but even Haruhi, it's not really obscure. It's old, but it's not obscure. People will hate on it saying that, oh, it's, Gooner material. Same thing with gaming. They'll call games that they don't like Gooner material. But yeah, this is basically just what's been going on in the anime community. The anime community has been kind of infected by people who don't really like anime. They're just here for the clout, here for the experience, but don't really want to be involved with anything outside of the basic mainstream. Which is fine to an extent if you only like mainstream anime. There's nothing wrong with that. But you just have to understand that there's more to it than that. There are more hardcore fans out there. And when you say stupid things, you're going to get called out for it. So it's best to do your research to figure out what you're talking about before you say something dumb like this. So yeah, I think that's where I kind of want to end it. I just wanted to talk about this and give my thoughts. If you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.